Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I have been busy in the kitchen today making some zucchini bread, and I'm just about to put it into the oven. My garden is struggling a lot from, all the problems that we've had so far, mainly late going in because of the bad soil, then the heat and all of that. But the one thing I am getting lots of is squash. And so I decided to go ahead and make some zucchini bread. I do have a video here on the channel from a few years ago where I took you through the entire recipe for making this. This is based on a recipe that I got from my mom. I grew up eating this. I made some minor changes to it, but I call this Mom's zucchini bread because it's pretty darn close. And so I'm making this now, and then tonight I'm going to make a yellow squash recipe for dinner. I'm doing kind of an Italian beef and squash casserole of sorts, and so that is going to be for dinner tonight. So lots of squash, summer squash that is. We've got the zucchini, we've got the yellow, I still can't remember if it was straight neck or crook neck squash that I planted. I'm kind of thinking it was the straight neck. But I've got lots of that, and so I'm going to make the casserole for dinner tonight, and then I'll still have plenty of zucchini and yellow squash left. So I'm thinking I may just go ahead and shred some of this zucchini and freeze it. And I can use that for zucchini bread recipes in the future, like Mr. Smith's favorite lemon zucchini bread. He loves that recipe, and I thought about making that one, but I didn't have any lemons in the house, and so I figure I'll just make that one for him next time. But these are about to go into the oven for about an hour, 325 degrees, until they test down with a toothpick. Alright, so I'm out here finally getting around to repotting or potting my baby pepper plants, as you can see here. So I've had a few questions about these plant trays, these starter trays, and these came from a company called Bootstrap Farmer. I do like these starter trays because they are super durable. They're meant to be used for many years. And what's pretty handy about them is the hole in the bottom, I don't know if you can see that, is really big. So when you are trying to get your plants out, you can just take your finger, push it up through the bottom, and the whole thing's going to come right out. So super easy. I'm going to make sure that I label all of my pots. Got my little tags right here. These are the Chinese 5-color peppers. I ended up only getting one of the bell peppers. So I'm glad that I went ahead and started some of the lipstick peppers, since those are basically just like a bell pepper. I do think the chickens got a couple of my pepper plants though, because a few of these have just stems and nothing else. So Bootstrap Farmer is also where I got all of my little starter pots and where I got my trays. This particular tray has a mesh bottom so that it can drain out. And then these more shallow ones have no holes, so they'll hold the water in. And these come in all different colors. Blue, purple. Basically, I think all of the colors that you see here. Alright, so I've got a good bit of the buena voladas. I've got 3 of the lipstick peppers. I ended up getting 5 jigsaw peppers, 2 of the starfish, Brazilian starfish peppers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cayenne peppers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jalapenos, and then just 1 bell pepper. Alright friends, so I'm out here watering the garden, and I can tell you the other day when I did the fish emulsion fertilizer, it is definitely helping. Everything that was really pitiful is greening up. Hi! And showing improvement already. I mean, not everything looks amazing, but I can definitely tell the difference. I have ordered some other fertilizers that I'll be using, and they should be coming in the mail in the next day or so. So I'll be able to help out the garden, and I'll show you what I'm using when I get it. Hello friends, so it is the next day now, and I'm out here in the garden this morning doing some watering and fertilizing. I watched a video from Living Traditions Homestead. They were kind of dealing with some very similar things. Now they had like amazing compost that they had filled all of their raised beds with, but they talked about how the compost's nutrients weren't actually yet available, and how that takes sometimes a couple of years for it to actually be able to release those nutrients for the plants to use. So they shared what kind of foods that they were using for their plants, and so I looked those up. I went ahead and I ordered them, and I'm actually using one of them this morning, a calcium magnesium blend. I think that's really going to be important for my squash plants because they were really yellowing up, and I was beginning to see blossom end rot, which is like the classic calcium magnesium deficiency symptom. So I'm going to give them a good feeding with the CalMag, and then I'm going ahead and I'm giving that to all the rest of the plants as well, because my other water soluble fertilizers will be coming today, and I think I'm just going to kind of start alternating with them and giving them a good feeding, because you know, just because a soil is organic doesn't mean it's got all the nutrients it needs. It just means it doesn't have all the junk in it, usually, because look, let's just be real, the world we live in, there's contamination everywhere of all of these toxic poisons that are sprayed all over our planet. And, you know, like I talked about in my poisoned video, Bible talks about how there's going to be pestilence and disease and starvation and all that stuff. And I have come to the point that I'm pretty convinced it's all going to be by our own hand doing it. Because that stuff is just everywhere. It's everywhere. So we do our best, you know. We buy the organic stuff, and, you know, all we can do is just pray and hope that we're actually getting good stuff. So, but anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get back to work before it gets a million degrees out here today. I'm already starting to sweat, and the sun is barely coming up over the trees. So I'm going to get all this done, go in the house, get cleaned up. And then that squash recipe that I mentioned, we actually realized we had a lot of leftovers still in the fridge, so we went ahead and had leftovers for dinner last night. And so tonight is when I'm going to be making that yellow squash recipe. It's an Italian squash casserole, and I think you guys would really like it. So I'm going to film that recipe, and I will share it with y'all sometime next week. So earlier in this video, I shared making traditional zucchini bread. I will put a link to that video and recipe and all that stuff in the video description down below. And I mentioned maybe shredding up and freezing the zucchini, but I decided I'm just going to go ahead and bake the lemon zucchini bread and just freeze it. Those types of quick breads freeze really well. The only thing I will not do is I won't put the glaze on it, because glazes don't freeze well. So you can bake the breads, freeze them, and then if you want the glaze, then after it thaws out, go ahead and make it and pour it over then. So in any case, I've got the sweat pouring, so I'm going to get to work, get all this stuff done, and then I will head on into the house and do all the rest of the things. Today is Friday, and it is prep day for Shabbat, so I will be cooking, cleaning, and preparing for a day of rest. Alright, so with that, I'm going to get to work. Thanks for joining me here at the homestead. I'll talk to you all next time.